Welcome to Creative Full Time. I'm your host, Alison Mullings, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Danjelani Ellis and talking about his role in the world premiere of Moonlight Schooner. We also talk about his creative career thus far, everything from sitting in on auditions to National Theatre School to Dora nominations, and all the creative projects and endeavors in between gigs to help the creative juices keep on flowing. Before we get into this interview, if you could hit the subscribe button, that helps us out so much and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. So I wanted to start by talking about Moonlight Schooner and your role in that production. What can you tell me about this world premiere coming up?
Yeah, no, I'm so excited for this premiere. It's unreal. I never thought I'd have the opportunity to be in such a Caribbean play here. So that's surreal. Yeah, there's so much to say. Like the Caribbean representation, there's like million islands represented, not actually, but there are characters from St. Vincent, from St. Kitts, from Trinidad, from Jamaica. So there are a number of dialects that we're working in. Um,
Nice.
Yeah, the character I play, Jincy, is from St. Vincent. And so
Okay.
that is not a dialect I've worked with before. And so that's been a really nice challenge to learn that. And um, I'm distracted by Mosey. Oh my goodness. I don't even remember what the question was, to be frank. I'm so
That's all
sorry.
right. Just all about just everything you know about Moonlight Schooner.
Moonlight Schooner,
um,
yeah.
so you're from your character's St. Kitts,
St.
or sorry,
Vincent.
St. Vincent, you said, but it's in St. Kitts,
It's
right?
in
The
St.
setting is St.
Kitts.
Kitts.
Yeah. So
Okay,
the play is
perfect. I
about
was
these
like, I got
sailors.
St. Kitts from somewhere.
Yeah. No, it's me. I misled you.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's okay.
they're on a boat, they're sailing the Caribbean, they're carrying some cargo, and they encounter a big storm, big hurricane, and the ship gets wrecked. And so they port at the nearest island, St. Kitts, and while they're there, they're like trying to fix the boat, but also trying to experience the island. And yeah, they have a night of pleasure, get into a bit of trouble,
A night
to
on the
say the least.
town.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you feel more or less or the same amount of pressure about originating a character? Because I know with theater, doing characters that are well known that a lot of people have already done or have made that role famous, there's a little added pressure with that sometimes. But originating a character, how do you
hmm
feel about that?
Yeah, it is an interesting thing to be originating a character. There is a pretty incredible amount of freedom in the sense that like no one else has done this before. He doesn't exist. And so yeah, I feel like there's an abundance of space to just play and discover and make choices and offers. But the pressure does come from wanting to manifest or realize Kanika's vision. I'm sure she was imagining someone and imagining a certain character as she was writing this. Also to
Right.
realize Sabrin, the director, like she's taken Kanika's words and she's also probably envisioning a particular character. And so I want to honor that. I want to create that. And then for the the Vincentians, people from St. Vincent, we're gonna come and see the play, and then other Caribbean folks who know Vincies. I feel a pressure to make sure that what they're hearing is what they recognize as someone who's Vincy, um, and not just what they're hearing, but also what they're seeing. So there's that pressure, but specifically in terms of originating it, I think mostly is lots of freedom. It's also set in 1958, so it's a very different time from now. And so while we are referencing, of course, like the ways that people moved and like spoke in that time, we are also allowing ourselves to kind of co-create it. So lots of freedom.
Nice. That's awesome. And what scares you the most about this role?
Oh, there's a lot of scary elements about this whole production, to be honest. But Yeah, I think the scariest thing about this role is similar to that previous point I made of just like really wanting to make sure that what I'm portraying, what folks who have a direct or indirect connection to, but some reference point to that culture, um, that they feel like they're being properly, for lack of a better term, represented. I just want to make sure that, yeah, that they feel honored and that they feel like what they're witnessing is like true to their experience. Um, Vince, he's a bit of a party boy. He likes to drink and have a good time. He's a teenager, so like very young, but sees himself as a young man, and so he gets into some trouble, some pretty extreme trouble. Um, to not give too much away, and like that is scary. Um, yeah, but there's a lot of care in the room, and there's been a lot of like thoughtfulness around going to these places that we have to go. So it's been, yeah, very not comforting, but there's a lot of care in the room. So like going through it in rehearsals is good, but of course it's going to be a different element once we're like sharing it with community. And so yeah, it's a little bit terrifying, to be really honest, but I'm excited. I'm also very excited for the conversation that it will open up and for the healing that it could also like trigger for folks. But yeah, I look forward to you coming and seeing it and getting some insight into what I'm speaking so vaguely about. Don't want to give it away, but it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did this role come to be? Did you audition for it, or have you worked with the writer and director before? What was the process of getting the role for you?
Yeah, I auditioned for sure. I have worked with Kanika and Sabrin before. I did a workshop, I guess, sorry, it wasn't Sabrin in this particular um experience I'm talking about, but I did a workshop of Kanika's play that's about to be running. I think they're in previews in a couple days from now, early November. Christmas market. This is like the season of Kanika Ambrose. Quick sidebar. She's got
Yeah.
Christmas market going up at Crows, which is like a co-pro between Crows and Be Current and Studio 180, and then Moonlight Schooner is happening, Necessary Angel production at Can State with Paragon. And Our Place, which premiered, I think, in 2023 at TPM, is up in
Hmm.
Montreal right now. Um, Quick digression there, but yeah, I did a workshop of Christmas Market, which is just about to premiere, and this was the first time I like performed in a play that was written by Kanika, and love that play. It's like hilarious and also has got like an incredible depth. There are these migrant workers who are working on a Christmas tree farm or market rather, and they're trying to have a good Christmas and they're dealing with like a bunch of bullshit. So I did a workshop of that and was like, oh my God, I love Kanika's writing. As I mentioned before, just like as someone who's like Jamaican born, I'm Afro-Caribbean, like, and I'm now living and working here, like kind of accepted that, I'd be doing North American work. And so, yeah, to encounter her as a writer and see that this is a possibility for me was very exciting. And yeah, did that workshop, loved it. And then they had met me there, like was introduced to my work there, and then was invited to audition for Moonlight Schooner and went through the audition process, had like an initial audition, had some callbacks, and then, yeah, was offered the role ultimately.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic. So I have a quick like little fill in the blank that's if
Mm.
you like blank, you will like this show.
Ooh, I
And it
love it.
could be another show, it could be a movie, it could be TV, it could just be a feeling or an action. It can be whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, I love this. If you like Our Place by Kanika Ambrose, you will like this show. If you liked Christmas Market by Kanika Ambrose, you will like this show. If you liked Of the Sea by Kanika Ambrose, you'll like this show. those are really easy and cheap. But like, yeah, if you're a fan of Kanika's writing, you'll definitely enjoy the show. It is similar in the sense that there's like she's drawing from Caribbean culture and are really beautiful and like wholesome in the sense of like these are 3D human beings. It's
Mm.
definitely got that connection, but it's also got astonishing amount of poetry and levity. It's so funny, but it also deals with some pretty scary and real issues that we're facing today, or like we're in the wake of. You know, when we think about the long shadow of colonialism, how some of these events in the 50s and before are connected to like conversations around toxic masculinity today. You'll like this show. If you like going back in time, if you like a period piece, you'll like this show. It's set in
Ooh.
1958. And so, yeah, you'll be transported. If you like calypso music, you'll like this show. There's some calypso and soca and just like that sparkly Caribbean vibe. You'll like this show. Um, yeah, if you like the water, if you like the ocean, if you like being in the Caribbean, you'll like this show.
Fantastic. And I was gonna ask you what you love about their writing, but I think you answered it in that question as well, of just all the different qualities that their writing has.
Yeah, no, I could
Um,
gush about Kanika's writing endlessly. It's so great. There's like lots of great poetry, as I mentioned, and really deep and sharp analysis, but without it being preachy or like an issues play, you know what I mean? But she does deal with some very serious and topical issues, even though it's set in 1958. And yeah, I'm really happy to see her being produced, you know, and having this moment of Tanika Ambrose. I think she deserves it. She's like one of our generation's like most talented writers. And the breadth, like it is similar to our place in that, you know, there are Caribbean folks that are being highlighted and it's their stories, but it's so different. And it's similar to Christmas Market in the same way that it's like Caribbean folks in a, well, I guess in Christmas Market, they're Caribbean folks in a Canadian context. But again, like she's just, she can't be pigeonholed, is what I'll say. Yeah.
Fabulous. I love that. And where are you guys at in the rehearsal process?
Yeah, we've completed a week of rehearsal so far, and we're in the second week. And so we've done
Nice.
all of our table work. We've gone through the play um, pretty with a fine-tooth comb, just like really going line by line and making sure we're all on the same page in terms of what the text is saying. Do we understand what it means? And then also just like unpacking everything. And then we've started on our feet, started some blocking. We're working through, there is some musicality and like music and like that's been worked on as well. So we're still in the beginning of the process, but have achieved quite a
Mhm.
lot already, which is exciting. We've of course done our fittings, and so we have a good sense of how these characters express themselves and like, how they'll look. And so there's still a lot to discover too, though. You know, we haven't obviously haven't been to the theater yet, and like are not working in the actual space, so that will come. But early days, but somehow we've done a lot already.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it always amazes me. I come from community theater background where you have like
Okay.
3 months of 3 nights a week doing rehearsals to listening to professional theater being like, yeah, and then we just did 1 week and we have 2 weeks left. And you're like, ah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Amazingly in my head, short amount of time. I know you're doing it more during the week, but yeah, it's still amazing to do a whole show and get it on its feet in that amount of time. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely rigorous.
Uh, yes, yes, for sure. Oh, I was gonna ask, about your dialect. Do you have a dialect coach that you're working with for this, or what's your practice for getting the accent?
Yeah, we're working with Peter and Bailey on our dialects, and Peter's been incredibly helpful. It's so funny because yeah, I'm Jamaican. I was born there and lived there until I was 15, so born and raised there. And so
Mm.
yeah, I have access to that dialect. That is my um mother tongue, I guess, for lack of a better term. And the Vincy accent is very similar to the Jamaican accent. And so I was like, okay, great, this will be easy. But it's not. The difference is so subtle that it requires like, yeah, technicality and attention to it and an awareness. So it's been great to have Peter's support to like know how to be very technical about it. Like these are how the vowels sound. These are how the consonants sound. This is how they like round their mouth and like to be very technical and precise. So that's been helpful. And he's provided a bunch of resources too, recordings and like videos to check out. And so yeah, that's been great. And as I mentioned, there's like six different dialects in the show. There's Jamaican, Trinidadian,
Yeah.
Haitian, and Vincentian. And so, and a few of the members of the cast do have Caribbean background as well and like have worked in accents before. So they do have some reference point, but everyone's working in an accent that is different from their own. So we're all still having to do some dialect work. So that's been a fun challenge for
That's amazing. That would be so hard for me too, because I was just in an Irish play, for example, and but
okay.
everybody was Irish, and so it would be hard listening to somebody else's accent
Uh-huh.
and then focusing on your accent at the same time with so many happening. I guess I just kind of blend into I'm gonna say this, nobody's gonna hire me ever again. Just like blending into another accent of whatever I'm hearing. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And everybody having a different accent is from what they're used to is incredible. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's been great
Um,
though. Necessary Angel, we did a workshop in the spring, and so we met Peter then, and like the introduction was
nice.
there, so we've had plenty support. It's been great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is definitely a skill. Definitely a skill. So kudos. Kudos.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of accents, being born and raised in Jamaica, and then going to the National Theater School here, did you find that they encouraged you to lose the accent? I've talked to some people about this of like losing the accent, keeping the accent and how it goes. So what was your experience with it?
Yeah, by the time it's funny. Yeah, I moved here when I was 15, so I did some high school and then I went to U of T, was doing theater there, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do my research because this is a Bachelor of Arts. They're making me write papers. I don't want to do this, and then dropped out, and then all this to say, like I was like a mature student, not actually, but like was like one of the older ones in my class going to NTS, and then by then would had been living here for a while, and so had developed this Canadian accent, and so it wasn't even. Yeah, I arrived when I was like,
Oh,
I'm
so it's just
Jamaican.
like a
People were like,
natural.
are you? Because I did not have my like
You
Jamaican
sure?
sound. Yeah, right. But it's funny though. There were some working on Shakespeare, for example, or like other classical texts. That I don't know if it was because it was so foreign and I'm like, dropping into a different part of my instrument that I did sound Jamaican or like revert to a more neutral accent, and so it would come up there. But yeah, no, funnily enough, I had instructors actually encourage me to speak in my Jamaican accent and to like speak from a neutral place, like to not feel the pressure to put on a Canadian accent. And then
Mm.
yeah, so that was freeing and like surprising. But when when I was in high school, like a year after moving here, I remember it was very intentional and put on. I was talking like this, and I had an auntie call the house. I'm like, who is this? And I was like, it's like, did not even believe that it was me. So yeah, I
That's
also was like
smart.
very intense about assimilating back then. And so I've like had quite a journey with my accent. But to your question though, at
Fair.
NTS, there was a lot of like encouragement to just like let the voice be whatever it was emerging, which was amazing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Cause yeah, I talked to some theater people and their theater school experiences, and they're like, "But that's who I am, that's me." So
Hmm.
so it's nice that, National Theater School did that. And how was your experience at National Theater School? I mean, I'm not gonna trash talk it or anything, but I just mean, like,
We
let
can't
me
at all.
rephrase this question. What was your biggest takeaway from the National Theater School?
Yeah. Um, I don't want to be like Montreal was great, but it really was. It was a great city to be a student in. I have to start there and be like, yeah, I loved being away from Toronto and just like that feeling of like being anonymous or just like being able to start fresh was really exciting. And just like a great city of culture and like the landscape was dope, going up the mountain and the Sunday tam-tams. And then that freedom allowed me to like, yeah, just like be open in school, which is great. The biggest takeaway for sure, or a couple takeaways, was like the community and network of working artists, like professionals who would come in, because you know, you have like sessional instructors, like Nancy Pock would come in and teach us a course for a couple months, and she's also like working in Toronto as an actor, and then we'd have this relationship because of her coming to school. And David Late, like just being able to like know all of these professionals and educators and actors, yeah, it was really awesome to like have this network, and the skill and like the resources, the toolbox. They love that
Mm.
metaphor at NCS, but I
Yeah.
do feel that it was full when I left, which I appreciated. And especially as I mentioned, because I had gone to University of Toronto before, just because I'm like, okay, well, I guess I should get a degree. And though I was pursuing a BA and it was a lot of theory, of course, and was yearning for like a conservatory style, being in the studio and like being in my body. And there was a lot of that at NTS. And so I really appreciated that. There are a lot of
Nice.
yeah, tools that I gained during that time that I'm still using. Um, yeah. And then my pals, my classmates, a lot of us are still in touch. They're still my dear friends, and I think we will continue to be friends and family. We're trauma bonded, but also just like really love each other, and so that's another takeaway I appreciate. It was hard. It was very hard. It was very challenging, I won't lie. And um, yeah, definitely hard,
And
but
how
like
was it
lots of
how was
benefits.
it being one of the older, you said you were a mature student in quotations. Um, did you find it better being one of the older ones?
I For me, yes, because that was part of why U of T prior to MTS was challenging too, because I was just like so young and like all this freedom and was a poor student as a result, like could not find the discipline that you needed to succeed. And so, yeah, I felt like it was easier to be focused on school as having had the U of T experience and just being a bit older. And so that was a benefit for sure. I had worked a little bit too, and so I had like some experience of professional theater. So I was like, okay, yeah, that was also useful to draw on as a student. Yeah.
Nice. And out of your toolbox, I like to ask people, um, do you have a favorite tool that you pull from your toolbox?
Ooh. What is my favorite tool? We did a class. I don't even know that this will answer the question, but there was a course that we did at NTS called Mind and Body. It was taught by Teddy Taffel, and it drew from a lot of Eastern movement practices, um, Buto, and there's another Asian movement practice I'm forgetting the name of right now. Um, but it was every Saturday morning for 3 hours. And
Damn.
you either like loved this class or hated it because if you were partying the night before, this class would be hard because it was so physically rigorous. Um, but I I take so much from this class for like warming up my body for like my daily rehearsals or like going into performance week, like to just like really drop all the way into my body and feel connected. I take lots of tools from that class with Teddy Taffel. Part of the class, we started the class by like just like shaking for 40 minutes to an hour. And, you know, as a student, you're like, what are we doing? What is this? I'm paying to do this, but the way I be shaking every day now, like that's how I start my days at home because yeah, you also like shake to release trauma. So there are all these benefits that I just could not appreciate as a kid, as a like young student that now I'm like, yes, please, like I need this to like really wake myself up and to like be in my body. And like I personally believe that like to be proficient as a storyteller, it's such an embodied practice and an embodied way of being and engaging that like if you're not fully in it, then you know there's can be missed opportunity. And so yeah, the shaking and like some other bits from Teddy Taffel's mind body class are things that I whip out literally daily.
Nice. That's awesome. That reminds me of, did you watch Baby Reindeer?
Sure did. Oh my God, yeah, so good.
When he's like, those acting classes where we did everything except for act. I laughed so hard. I was
Too
like,
real.
yeah, that is exactly what it feels like. You're like,
Too
I paid
real.
how many thousands of dollars to roll around like a tumbleweed right now?
I'm a squirrel. Yeah.
Yeah. Be 50% squirrel. Now give me 70% squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much fun. But you're right, like it feels so dumb in the moment. The freedom to do something that feels dumb
Mm,
is great. Just like a safe space to just be like as silly as possible is fantastic. But you find out later it's so useful. And
exactly.
so yeah, it's great. That's fantastic. So back to you as I go on little tangents, you'll notice.
Love it.
So I wanted to talk about some Dora nominations you got. Would you just
Mm.
like to shout out how many Dora nominations you have?
I received, how many was it? Five. Yeah. Or the production I was in received
5.
five. And then I personally received three. This is, yeah, that was so surreal. This was in
That's
2018.
amazing.
I was a part of the Riser project. Why Not Theater has this like producing platform and they offer indie creators and producers an opportunity to like present their show, produce it. And yeah, I did a piece called Speaking of Sneaking, and it was nominated for Outstanding Performance, Outstanding New Play, Outstanding Production, Outstanding Direction, and Outstanding Lighting Design. And I was like,
Amazing.
oh my God, yeah, yeah, super cool.
That's fantastic. That is so cool. I didn't know that they did that. That's pretty cool. The new
Yeah,
works and indie
and the
stuff.
program
That's
has
fantastic.
expanded. It started in just Toronto, and I think they're in a couple cities now. And yeah, shout out to Why Not Theater. It's a really great
Nice.
program, and I highly recommend it to like folks who are looking. I don't know that they still do it. I think they do. I think they like took a hiatus in the pandemic, as many programs did.
As
I
as we
think
all did.
right. I think it came back slightly different, but I would definitely recommend that. And there's other things that Why Not offers that is like great for people who are like looking to grow and develop. This Gen is a mentorship for like women and non-binary folks to like develop as directors and designers, I think. And you get paid. And Why Not's just like great humans. So yeah, big up to Why Not Theaters for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic. Shout out, why not? Shout out. And then I wanted to ask you about Obsidian Theatre Company.
Yeah.
Tell
Fun.
me about Obsidian Theatre Company.
Yeah, I love Obsidian as well. Shout out to Obsidian. Obsidian, for those of you who aren't familiar, is they're Toronto based and they've been operating since 2000. Just celebrated our 25th anniversary last season,
Woo!
24, 25. Boop, boop, boop. And they're mandated to support and develop Black artists. It's in our mandate to develop Black playwrights and to train and develop theater practitioners of other disciplines. So designers, directors, yeah, and I've been really fortunate to be supported by the company. I reached out to Mumbi Tindeba O2, who's the artistic director. I think it was 2021, and I was like, can you mentor me, please? Can we do this Metcalf internship? And will you like, yeah, offer me some mentorship in artistic direction? She very generously said yes. And then I did the year with Mumbi and then was like welcomed into the company. And then the year ended and I'm like, so this is feeling really good. You like me, I like you, right? Obsidian. And was offered like a part-time role as an artistic associate, and then um, that time elapsed, and then yeah, I'd been as I am now as a part of the staff full time as the artistic producer, which is like so amazing. I'm so grateful. It's so dope to be in such close proximity to a variety of programming, like our main stage productions I'm supporting, but then also our training programs and like the playwrights unit and the Young Gifted and Black training program for directors and designers and all the workshops and like writers that we're developing outside of YGB and the playwrights unit. And yeah, I feel again so fortunate. It's such a privilege to like be able to be practicing my art. And then they give me time off to like do amazing things like Moonlight Schooner, but also to be artistic in my admin work is like a real blessing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. Good for you for just reaching out and being like, "Hey, do you
Yeah.
want to be my mentor?" Because a lot of people are too scared to just send an email
Yes.
asking that, right? I mean, it can be intimidating and can be scary. So, proof that it works, people. Email your
Do
mentors that you
it.
want to
Send
work
those
with.
emails. It wasn't the first email that I received a yes to. I'll be honest and transparent about that. Reached out to a
Nice.
number of other people and they were like, no response or just like, I don't have time. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
just to like be real
Which
about the
definitely can
situation.
happen and is fair, but yeah,
Yeah,
just keep on
keep at
sending
it
those
for sure.
emails. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And there's a legacy that we're carrying forward, like Philip Aiken was the artistic director before Mumby and all these Luke Reese, who was the producer before, or a couple producers before me, who just like has done incredible work. And you want to make these people proud too. There's a whole community that has known their work and other folks before their work too. So it's like you can't help but follow through because there are all these people that you're accountable to. Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
a really great
Yeah,
experience.
and the up and comers and
Mhm.
everybody that has questions and wants to get into the industry and do their best work. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Amazing. And I don't even know how to groundwork redux. Is that
Redux.
correct?
Yeah.
Redux. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about I have it just written down as that. Groundwork redux question mark. So tell me about groundwork redux.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'll start with the name because
Yeah,
yeah,
where'd the
why
name
not?
come from?
Where'd the name come from? So my dad, my father, I was gonna say was. he is still a theater artist.
Hmm.
Yeah, he teaches theater in Jamaica at the Enamami College for the Visual and Performing Arts, which is like this conservatory, I guess, for all of the it's not just performing arts, all the arts. There's a Jamaica School of Drama, Jamaica School of Music, Jamaica School of Art. He's been teaching it for a long time. So as a child, I would childcare was nothing in Jamaica, or my parents didn't use it in the way that folks do. And so after school, I would just go to my parents' workplace and just like sit and watch them work. My mom's an educator, so it was either going to my dad's work and being at Jamaica School of Drama or going to my mom's work, and she was a high school science teacher. And so, yeah, he
Nice.
taught drama, but was also like working as an actor and writer. He was a part of a theater company called Groundwork Theatre Company. And so, yeah, as a kid, I was sitting in their rehearsal halls and like seeing these people, and definitely nature and nurture, like knowing that, okay, there's something in me that like really wants to be doing what they're doing. And my dad has an amazing story about um not at his rehearsals, but like him being on an adjudication panel for a performing arts troupe, and then folks were auditioning, so they would like come in, do a bit, and then leave. And then I was there literally watching these people audition as a child, just like sitting there, different culture. But then a person would leave, and I would go as they're like having discussion, I would go and just like do my version of what they did. And it was so moving to the people on the panel. They're like, "Do you want to audition?" And then I auditioned and like joined group,
What?
but and like thus began my like um, performance career. Um,
That is so cool.
but specifically, yeah, my dad was in this company called Groundwork Theatre Company, and I sit there and watch these people and be like, "Wow, this is so cool. This is what I want to be doing." Um, and I'm here pursuing this life in the arts because of their influence. And so, yeah, I wanted to call my like my ad hoc company Groundwork Redux. I'm bringing it back, I'm remixing it, I'm just like honoring this foundation that they built for me. And it's really like project based. And so when I did Speaking of Sneaking, I did it again at Buddies in 2023. And so Groundwork Redux was the producer. I co-produced it with Buddies in association with Obsidian. Um, I'm developing a play right now at the theater center, and so Groundwork Redux is the like ad hoc company that's like doing that at the theater center. So yeah, it's my little baby company. It's my project-based home for my experiments and like theatrical impulses.
That's amazing. That is so cool. Good for you. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm extremely jealous that you got to sit in auditions as a youngin because they as soon as you get into acting, they're like, be a reader for casting directors. You'll learn so much. And you were there. That was your intro. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. That is fantastic. I would loved that. I mean, I'm sure I would have been too young to truly appreciate it. But but that's awesome. I would love to be a fly on the wall in those rooms. It's fantastic. And your dad's into theater, so creativity runs in the family.
It does on my dad's side, for sure at least. But yeah, my dad's a performer and writer, and my uncle Aston, his brother, is a singer and like plays the bass. Our so my dad's uncle Alton Ellis is like the godfather of soul, um, or I forget, but is like a pretty prominent musician in Jamaica as well. He's passed away. May he rest in peace. My grandfather, who's also passed, Leslie, sang backup for him, and so yeah, there's a lot of
Wow.
artists on the Ellis side of the fam.
That is amazing.
My older brother
That
is
is
a
awesome.
poet and singer, rapper. He's a teacher too, like my mom. So
You got the combination of both,
Exactly.
the teaching and creative.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all, and then your mom's a science teacher. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So very different,
What?
very
I
left
love
brain,
the
right brain.
combination.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is so, so neat. Starting out in your well, no, let me backtrack. So when you said that's when the creative bug bit you was when they got you to audition for them.
Mhm.
Did you then know, okay, I want to do this as a career and geared everything towards that, like post-secondary and whatnot? Or were you in like late high school and trying to decide what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I guess
How did it happen for you?
yeah. I It happened pretty recently, to be honest, I think, or not pretty recent, but like definitely in my adult life, I should say. I think though I was in all these like art programs growing up, I couldn't envision it as my career. I knew I loved
Mm,
doing it, but I'm like, I don't know, like, still feeling like it might not be possible for me, or like I'm also living in Jamaica at this time. Yeah, and also my mom, who was a science teacher, was encouraging me to like pursue something else. She's very happy for me to like be doing it and like supportive of like, me doing arts as a kid. But I was like, but you should also get a degree. You should also perhaps consider being a doctor. It's um definitely offensive in this context, but there's like a Jamaican saying about being a doctor, lawyer, or Indian chief, just as like a prominent position in society or a prominent job. Always like, are you gonna be a doctor, lawyer, or a chief? Come on, one of those. So yeah, having being
yeah.
stuck in between this, like, oh, but this is what I want to do, and like, but this is how I'm gonna like sustain my life is by being a doctor, lawyer. Yeah, it wasn't until like post-secondary where it's like, no, I think I can definitely, I want to take a shot at this. Um, and then was doing it, but then even while I was doing it, still being like, oh my God, it can be challenging when you're like a full-time freelance artist. And yeah, it's just been in the last couple of
Mm.
years where I'm like very grounded and confident in the fact that like, no, this is what I was meant to do, this is where I meant to be, and like I can sustain this if I just like continue to be open and creative and like, go for it.
Amazing. That's awesome. And how long since you graduated National Theater School till now?
um I had 10 year or 2015 was when I graduated. And so yeah.
Okay, nice. Fantastic. I like to know, like, everybody, you know the saying where it's like it's a 10-year career? Have you heard that? Where they're
No.
if you wanna I forget where I originally heard it. Maybe film school. Maybe I did get something from film school. But it's like, everybody thinks when you wanna be an actor, that it's gonna happen so quick for you.
Mhm.
But they say that the 10-year career, I think after about that
Okay.
time, like, it starts to feel like, "Okay, yeah, I'm in it."
Yes.
You
That
know?
definitely resonates for me then. Yeah. And then also just clarified, like I feel like I would identify as like a theater practitioner or like a multidisciplinary artist. I love acting and I'm trained to be an actor, but
I
I also
love
know
that.
that I like to write and like I definitely
Yes.
interested in dramaturgy and like I want to develop skills as a director. And so and also being open to
Yes.
all these possibilities means that I can be doing all of them and like sustaining myself better than just like focusing singularly, and like no shade to those
Mm,
who do that and like are successful at that. Like I know folks who are, but then I'm just like at 10
mhm.
years out of school, I'm like, okay, no, the way that's gonna work for me is to like be doing all of it. And also being an administrator and like I'm developing those skills too. It's like, yeah, 10-year career. I'm into that. That's so true for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I like that Because you're right. There are some people who are like, I act and I do this, and that is all that I want to do. But yeah, I think for me personally, I don't know if you can relate to this, but it makes it feel like, okay, I'm not just waiting for, the audition or the job. I'm
Exactly.
actually contributing from my end,
Yeah, exactly. It's like gives me
and
some
it makes
agency
the
too and
gaps in
freedom.
between.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
I'm not gonna wait.
yes,
I'm
and
gonna
yeah,
like take this opportunity by creating it for myself. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so definitely agree. Could not agree more. That's fantastic. So, are you mainly theater? Do you like doing film and television, or you are theater all the way?
I'm theater all the way. I'm open to it. I did some training. So I did an NTS and I did a Jamaican film when I was called Third World Cop. Um, when I was in grade 3. And I've done some commercials and stuff. And so yeah, have like some limited experience, have cut my teeth, but definitely open to doing more. It just requires you to be a bit more agile in terms of your schedule and like um
Yeah.
yeah, which can be challenging. But so far I've definitely had significant theater experience than film and TV. But Netflix, I'm open. So Crave, holler at me.
That's right.
I'm open
But
to it.
Netflix, don't get it twisted.
Exactly.
If you want to call, here's my
Done deal.
number.
Holler at your boy.
That's hilarious. It's so true. Yeah, I usually ask people, for you, it seemed pretty clear like theater is your love. But I usually ask people like if they paid the same, would you do theater or film, or do you like theater or film more? And I think everybody tends to love theater more. A few like film, but theater a lot. Theater a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and with film, you're so right with the scheduling. It's like, we need you tomorrow. You're like, okay. Or be available for all these dates, and we won't tell you if we need you until the night before.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so hard. I have a little dog I got to
Yeah,
take care of and be mindful of. Jeez.
that's right. That's right. I know, right? Like we don't have lives. Before I ask you my final two questions, when and where is Moonlight Schooner happening?
Yes, Moonlight Schooner by Kanika Ambrose is going to be happening at Canadian Stage in the Berkeley Street Theater. So right downtown there. What is that? Front and Fairborn area? Don't quote me. Check Google. Google will tell you
I
exactly where.
believe you.
Canadian Stage, November 21st to December 14th. So pretty good run. 3 weeks, I think that is. Yeah.
Fantastic. That is awesome. And my final questions to you. So the first one is, if you could tell your younger self any advice, your younger self, like you starting out in your creative
Uh,
career, if you could tell that younger self a piece of advice, what would you say?
wow. I love this question. I think I would tell young Danjelani to not abandon what he already knows. Don't
Mm,
leave behind what you have. I think I have had some experiences where I've like met someone or like have discovered a new skill or like a new way of approaching something that I've been so taken by and inspired by that I just take it on completely and then have forgotten about my way or like a way that was serving me as like one clumsy example, but also just like values and the experiences in my youth and childhood that were foundational to me being here to like, yeah, don't leave them behind. I am who I am because of that, and they will serve me, bring your whole self by not leaving behind what you already
nice. I like
know.
that. My final question to you is, if you could give this chapter in your life a title, what would you title it?
Ooh. Um, I would title this chapter of my life Danjelani, which I know you're probably like, but that is your name. But it's newly my name. My
Oh,
parents
is it?
named me, yeah, my parents named me Daniel, first name, Jelani, middle name, last name Ellis. But they've always called me Danjelani, always called me Danjelani. And my grandma has always called me Danny. And so, yeah, I've grown up being called Danjelani and Danny by my loved ones and like really connecting to that and like always feeling a bit like, who's Daniel? Who's Daniel? There were always
Mm.
Daniels in my class, other Daniels, and like just you encounter Daniels in the world. And so yeah, never really felt like it was me. And so yeah, I sent an application to the government of Ontario and made it official and like changed my name to Danjelani. And
Nice.
it's been met with so much love. My family's so happy, of course, and like my
Aw.
colleagues and loved ones have been so supportive and still getting my IDs changed, even though I have my name change certificate. But there's something about choosing this for myself and like naming myself, even though it's something I've always been called, that feels like I'm really taking the reins for this chapter of
Mm.
my life. So yeah, I would name it Danjelani, the Danjelani era.
I love that. That is so cool. That is an
Yeah,
excellent
yeah.
answer.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. And I'm so looking forward to seeing Moonlight Schooner
Yeah,
and the rest that you do with your career, because that'll be so
yeah.
exciting.
Thank you. No, I appreciated the chat so much. It's been good vibes.
And thank you so much for watching and for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Be sure to grab your tickets for Moonlight Schooner happening November 21st to December 14th. I will see you at the theater, and if not, then I'll see you in the next interview.